The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to today's webinar with your host, Todd Walters.
Thank you, Adrian. Adrian, we were just talking about Adrian, our famous tech guy over there at Craig Proctor. But great to have you, Andrea. I don't know if I've told you publicly. Welcome officially to the Craig Proctor coaching family. Glad to have you here, especially an expert behind the scenes that are helping us with this stuff. So thank you.
Yes, thank you.
All right, listen up, everyone. I hope that you'll grab a notepad and grab a pen, try to minimize distractions here. I've got a lot of information that we're going to cover today on this lead conversion training session. Okay, so first of all, just like Andrew said, yep, this is Todd Walters. I'm a Platinum Coach, and been that way for almost a decade here. And I've learned a lot in those 10 years or so, working with Craig Proctor and coaching and doing my best to help some of the top real estate agents on the planet even grow and expand their real estate businesses. But I know one thing for sure. Okay, this is one thing I know, and you guys can relate to this, is that if you're not reaching the leads and converting them to appointments, you know what? You're not going to sell very many houses. Okay, so let me start out by saying this, and I'll show you, talk about what we got on the screen here and some other materials I want to share with you, and then we'll go to the queue and we'll do some role playing. So it's going to be a really good training session today. This past week, I talked to two separate Platinum members who were giving out an awful lot of leads, giving out an awful lot of appointments, signing a lot of buyers to agreements even, but just didn't have a lot of closings in terms of its percentage of the buyers that they had signing agreements. So I said, look, let me ask you a few questions here so I can get an idea of how your business works, because it doesn't make sense to me to be signing, 4 or 5 buyers a week to a buyer agreement, but only selling, like 3 or 4 houses. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So, long story short, there's a commonality among a lot of our members in the way that they run their programs when working with buyers. Okay? So let me see, as a matter of fact, if I can pull that up here real fast. I'm going to pause my screen, and I'm going to beg your forgiveness just for a minute while I try to pulse up something here that is really powerful. So bear with me 1 second here. That's the beauty of these. I love these webinars, so I can talk and I can show you some stuff at the same time. But you just got to kind of bear with me while I find it, because I was not prepared to show you this. Here it is. Okay, so hang on 1 second. Let me find it. I'm almost there. Where's it at? All right, hang on. Don't freak out. Just give me like 2 minutes. I'm almost there. You can hear my little yes. Come on, where's that? It's right here. I know it is. Here it is. Okay. I know I'd find it. Okay. And I don't know why I thought about this one. I want to get this in because this is important on this webinar. For some reason, when a lot of our agents, our members and their buyer's agents, they'll go meet with a buyer, they'll sign them up to a buyer agreement, and they part ways, and they take the buyer's contact info and all of their home buying criteria, and they put it into their home hunter service, and then the home hunter service goes to work sending the buyer's properties and listings and updates and all those things that it does. And then the agent will go in a few directions here. One direction is to pick up the phone and call the buyer and say, hey, I wanted to check and see if there were any listings that you're getting emailed over that you want to go see. Okay? That's one direction. Another direction is that you have a schedule to do that. Your contact management system tells you to actually make these calls every other week, for example, to call the buyer and ask that same lame question, which is, hey, Are you getting any listings that you're interested in? Do you want to go see any of those properties that you're getting? All right, well, as you can see on your screen right now, from the buyer's agent manual that I pulled right out of our materials for Platinum Program members, it says, don't do that. Don't do that. Here's how it works, okay? So for you inside sales agents, you outside sales agents, everybody needs to know this is how it works. You sit down with the buyer. You sign them to a VIP buyer agreement. You modify their search criteria in your home hunter service so that they do get properties sent over to them that match their home buying criteria, okay? And as soon as you do that, you, the agent, the outside sales agent who has that buyer, you immediately forget about that, okay? Your job now is to go and find them a house and call them up and not say, hey, have you seen anything you want to go see? You find the houses and you call them up and you close to go show them a house. Okay, ready to get that? That's how it works. So maybe the call is something like this. Hey, Mr. Buyer, hey, look, I've got 3 homes here that you really need to see. One of them is dadgum awesome. I don't believe it'll be there next week. Are you available to go take a look at these properties, say, tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock? And the buyer may say, well, why don't you just send them over? I can't. There's nothing to send. These are off-market properties. Or these are properties that I found, kind of hiding under a rock. Or just trust me on this. You go take a look at them. So close for appointments to go look at properties. Because here's the answer when you're just sending them listings, or you got a system that's doing it automatically, and you call around that system. It's like you're hoping the system is going to sell houses for you or something. It doesn't work that way. So if you call them and say, hey, those listings that you're getting, buyer, were there any in there that you wanted to go take a look at? Have you seen anything that you want to go see? Well, if they did, they would have called you. Okay, so that's not good. That's not how you sell houses. So whenever we set buyers up in the home hunter service, it was it. It just ran on its own. Now, the reason for it was so that it could take care of the buyer when I was unavailable, because I'm oftentimes unavailable. I'm working with other buyers. I'm on the phone. I'm negotiating a contract. I'm out at my kids' ball games. I'm living my life. Okay, so if I can't get to that buyer, at the very least, he's being serviced by getting information on properties that match their home buying criteria. And they may very well call me on their own motivation and say, hey, I got this house here I just saw on the computer. I want to go see it. And if they do that, that's fine. They may just be thinking that's how it worked. But in the meantime, while all that's going on, I'm behind the scenes combing the streets looking for houses for that prospect. Okay, calling them up saying, hey, I've got 3 homes. I got 1 house. I got 2 houses. I have 4 homes that we need to go take a look at right away. And I don't know if they've gotten them via email or not. Okay, preferably, I don't care whether they've gotten them. I don't want to talk about them getting them or not. They need to go see the homes. Otherwise, they're not going to buy them. I don't understand how they can buy something if they're not looking at it. And it's not their job to call me and say, I want to go look at a house. So anyway, I wanted to get that out there. That's right out of the manual for outside sales agents. Okay, but that's how the system is supposed to work. So if any of you are not doing it that way, then it could be a result in the could be a result of why you're not getting what you want to get out of your real estate business. All right, so let's move on to the next thing I want to share with you here, and that's dealing with objections. All right, as a matter of fact, let me minimize that slide and let's bring up some objections. Okay, so I'm going to take you to the coaching site here first. So this will take it always takes a couple of minutes for things to stream, but I'm going to go to the coaching site. And on the coaching site, we've got the library tab and we've got the file library tab on the coaching site there. So I'm going to click on the file library. And I want to show everyone some very important information here. Under categories, and I'm waiting on my screen to stream through the GoToWebinar website for all of you guys to see. There's a category that says Platinum OSA Workshop. Okay? Now it's important that you guys know about this category, Platinum OSA Workshop. Right? Now, in the Platinum OSA Workshop, there are manuals. There's a buyer's agent manual, there's a working with sellers manual, and there's a manual that talks about dealing with all the objections. See, 592. The responses to every buyer and seller objection. ID number 592. Okay, everybody see that? All right, so I'm going to take a look at the objection manual. Now, we've all been challenged by buyer and seller prospects while we're on the telephone, right? For example, well, I'm only interested in seeing that property that I'm calling on. Or, can't you just mail me the listings? Or, look, my schedule's really busy. Or, you know, we don't want to work with an agent. We just want to go look at homes directly with the listing agent. Okay, and those kinds of objections, right? We know what the most common ones are. Okay, so that manual is packed full of objections that you'll get over the phone as well as face-to-face from buyers and sellers. Okay? So we're not going to go through all these objections. What I want to talk about, though, is I want to talk about, let's go up and let's find a common objection here. Here we go. Common objections, common buyer objections. Can't you just mail me the listings? I can tell you what I'm looking for over the telephone. Stuff like that. All right, so how do we deal with those objections? Well, in the buyer and seller agent manual, there's how to deal with objections information. Okay, so I'm going to throw that up here on the screen, and I'm going to walk you through it. So let's suppose the objection is something like, you know, we want to work with, you know what, Todd, this all looks really good, it all sounds really good, but we bought our last home without an agent, we bought our last home ourselves. We really would just prefer to go and look at the properties on our own, deal directly with the agents that have them listed. Okay? You guys ever heard that one? All right. So, how do you respond? Well, there are 5 tips right here to dealing with objections from buyers and sellers. This one says seller objections, but it's the same thing for buyers. Number 1, repeat the objection. Be sure and understand just what the objection is. So the best thing to do is repeat what the prospect said just to make sure you got it right. Okay, let me make sure I understand this, seller or buyer or whoever you're talking to. You believe that you can get a better deal for yourself if you just go directly to the agent who has these properties listed. You know, maybe you can negotiate the commission down since there's no other agents involved. Is that what you're saying? And you shut up and listen. Okay? Well, yeah, that's exactly what we're saying. Or no, that's not what we're saying at all. Okay, so you can't effectively deal with objections unless you know really what it is. So you've got to get it out of them. Repeat the objection. Now, once you do that, then you want to isolate the objection. Okay, Mr. Buyer or seller, whoever you're talking to there. Aside from that you believe it's in your best interest just to go directly to the agents who have the properties listed to look at these properties. Aside from that, are you comfortable with everything else that we've discussed or that I've shared with you today? Is there anything else that you have a concern about? So we want to make sure that this is the only issue that they have, as big or as small as it is. Right? And as we say right here, best way to do that is to ask. All right? Then the third step is to cushion the objection. Like, it's not anything, as frustrating as it might be for you and I, it's not anything new. We've heard these before. Other people have said them. Heck, you yourself may have even been in a position where you've felt the same way at times about certain things. So you can easily cushion these objections. Make sure you're never condescending or argumentative about it. And this is what I see people do. They tend to get into arguments sometimes with the prospect. Well, you don't want to go directly to the listing agent. They're just going to, they're working for the seller. They're not representing you and all these other things. Like the person knows that. They've decided that they can be just as effective as a buyer's agent in negotiating a deal. That's all. But they already know that, some of the things that you would throw out. So you don't need to argue with them. But you can cushion the objection. Now, we recommend that you find 3 ways to cushion the objection. For example, Mr. Buyer, I understand exactly what you're saying. Others have expressed similar concerns before. As a matter of fact, if I were where you are right now, I would probably feel the same way based on the past experience that you told me you had with other real estate agents. As an example. Okay? Now we're positioning ourselves to handle the objection effectively. Now, to handle the objection, I'm going to recommend that everybody in this training session today have the objections manual. Okay, so let's go back and let's make sure that we got it. There are 2 places. I'm going to go to the coaching site, pull that back up, and I'm going to show you where it is. This is the Platinum OSA Workshop category in the file library. Okay, so if you're an outside sales agent or an inside person or an administrative person on this training session today, you want to go to your team leader and ask them for this information. Library, file library, under categories, Platinum OSA Workshop. And under OSA Workshop, you can see right here. You get the seller benefits presentation. You got responses to every buyer and seller objection ever. How to get more referrals, Platinum seller conversion, Platinum VIP buyer conversion, and Success Now systems. This comes right out of our workshop that we do for outside sales agents and Platinum members. Okay, so if I went to ID 592 and downloaded that, here's what I'm going to see right here. I'm going to get this manual. And I'm just running down through the slides on it. Okay? Let me see that. Okay, so let's see if this objection I just mentioned to you is actually in here. Yep, right here. We only want to work with the listing agent. Look, 1, 2, basically 3 different, several ways to deal with this. Now, you guys can read, so I don't need to pull this up and deal with that objection. We want to talk about effectively handling objections and a process for doing that. All right, we're not done yet either. Right now we're handling the objection. Let me throw that back up here. Right here. So we're handling the objection. And in this case, the person said, I only want to work with the listing agent. Why is that? Probably they want a good deal, but we don't know. We have to get it out of them. We have to find out, right? Okay, so if we read that a little more closely, my response to handle the objection would be something like this. There are 2 things that concern me when you say that. First is that the listing agent is negotiating on behalf of the seller, and no one's negotiating on your behalf, but I'm sure that you've probably already thought that through. The second is the time. The amount of time that you're spending calling numerous listing agents on your own. Signs and ads and that sort of thing. So it's common, well, you may not know this, but whatever the agent with the listing can tell you, well, of course, I can tell you. And more importantly, I can actually give you more information than they can, since the law prohibits them from disclosing things that might impact the seller's bottom line on the front end. This allows you to negotiate from a stronger position, like what they owe on the house. Okay, so, and another factor with that is that many of the properties, as you can see here, are selling within a matter of days. So the really good listings are gone before you even know about them. So you can see I'm spinning this back around to our homeowner service. So remember now, our buyer profiling system alerts you of all the new listings that meet your criteria, plus you got me combing the off-market properties manually and calling you about them. Okay? So that's one way to handle the objection. So does that make sense to you? Now, when all else fails with this particular objection especially, then I use a performance guarantee. So I want to go back to our handling objections. When I run out of things to say, and occasionally I do, just like we all do, a performance guarantee would probably take care of it. So if that's not quite good enough handling the objection, he says, well, yeah, but I still think, I haven't had this problem before, Todd. I bought 3 houses, blah, blah, blah. You say, well, how much money is it then that you were really counting on or believe that you can save here on your own? Well, I'm not really sure, Say, well, let's just think about it. So you're buying a $200,000 house, is that right? So what are you thinking? Half the commission? $6,000? Okay. Maybe more. How much do you really think? Well, I know I can get $6,000. Okay. What about this? What about if I could guarantee you that not only could I save you the $6,000 that you want, but I could also save you an additional $4,000. That I would guarantee you in writing that I'll save you at least $10,000 on your home purchase. Guaranteed in writing. Or I'll pay you $1,000 cash out of my own pocket. Okay? Would you be okay with that? And then what I just did is I just closed. Are you okay with that? Would you be okay with that? Does that sound more helpful? Does that work for you? So you have to close. So let's look at it again. Repeat the objection. Be sure you understand just what the objection is. It's best to repeat what the prospect said. Make sure that you're both on the same page. Isolate the objection. A, aside from X, are you comfortable with everything else? Is there anything else you got a concern about? We've got to make sure this is the only issue. Okay? Cushion the objection. Never be condescending or argumentative. I understand others have had similar concerns. I've heard this before. If I were in your shoes, it may be feeling the same way. And then you handle the objection. Okay? And you've got pretty much a response to every objection you will ever hear in that manual. And then close so that you can move forward when the prospect is comfortable with your response. Now, this is very important what you're looking at on your screen right now. If you're really serious about closing more appointments, closing more at the appointments, getting more agreements signed, this is important for everyone to learn to do this. So if we don't get anything else out of today's webinar training session here, we want to get this right. This is a big deal. Okay? All right. Excellent. So let's go back to a little manual here. And let me see if I can find what I want to share with you guys right now. I'm going to pause my screen here because I'm running through a bunch of slides here really fast. Alrighty. Here we go. Alright, so let me show the screen. Okay, so we'll move on to the next thing here I want to share with you today. Talked about the objective early on in today's call, which is getting agreement signed. If it's buyers, getting the buyer agreement signed and then turning right around immediately and finding them a house, calling them up and closing them to go look at the properties that we find for them to go see. Instead of waiting on them to call us or calling them up and asking them if they've seen something via email or out driving around that they want to go see. Okay, which method do you think will get you more closings? Right, okay. All right, so we covered that early on. Next thing we worked on was objections. Dealing with objections fully. We talked about the tips to do that. And I referenced the objection manual that all of you have access to. Whether you're an inside sales agent or outside sales agent, you should have that in. know what to say before it's ever brought up. All right. Now, the other thing that I want to work on, an email coming in there, let me get rid of that, is appointment cancellations. Bugs the mess out of me when people cancel appointments. What about you? You guys ever get bugged by that? I know I do. Okay, so how can we prevent or slow down or reduce the number of appointment cancellations? Well, I'm going to give you some ideas and strategy on it. I've talked about it many times in the last decade on these calls and at the workshops. Some of you watching today's program will remember, and you'll notice, and you're doing a really good job of this. So I'm going to walk through a little bit. We're going to talk about buyers. We're going to talk about sellers. And I want to show you some appointment confirmation emails that will help you do this, okay? The first thing that's really, really important here, whether it's a buyer or whether it's a seller, when you're on the phone with them and you book an appointment, buyer appointment, listing appointment, before you hang up the phone, the last thing that you do before you say goodbye is you want to reiterate the USP, or what they said yes to. Okay, what did they say yes to? You made an offer, they said yes to it, and you closed for an appointment, right? Okay, so we want to reiterate what they said yes to, because that's what they're going to be getting. So it goes something like this. Okay, Mr. Buyer, look, I'm looking forward to seeing you Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. Now again, when we get together, okay, I'm going to take down your exact home buying criteria using a special form. Over 100 individual features that you can search by. Okay, so we're going to take down your home buying criteria, and we're going to get you set up to receive all of the properties that match your home buying criteria from not just the real estate companies out there, but homes for sale that are not listed with real estate agents, or off market, or were previously listed with agents, and foreclosures, and all that. Okay, so you're going to get access to those homes as often as they hit the marketplace. Okay, you'll get them just like real estate agents get them. This means that you'll be able to beat out all the other buyers to the best homes. Okay, so we're going to spend some time doing that. Okay, so we'll get that system set up for you. And again, you're never under any obligation to buy, and this is a free service that we offer. Okay, so I will see you Saturday at 10 o'clock. Right? Oh, and when we hang up the phone, I'm going to send you an email with all my contact information again. So if there are any issues, you can let me know. All right, we'll see you Saturday at 10. All right, so anyway, so that's what happens. So before hanging up the phone, right after booking the appointment, reiterate what they said yes to, the USP. Everybody get that? Okay. Next thing, scheduling. There's no big secret for any of us on this training session here that the longer we set the appointment for away from this moment in time, the less likely it is to happen. You ever notice that? Yeah. The longer out it is, the less likely it is to happen. So I'm going to encourage you to get your appointments in as quickly as you can. Try to get this thing done as soon as possible. Very important. So my rule was kind of 48 hours. That's we wanted the buyers to be in within 48 hours. The sellers no more than 3 days out. Okay, we really, really had to do that. The longer it was pushed out, the more stuff we had to do in between. For example, between booking the appointment and the actual appointment, we had to follow up with them. We had to call. We had to come up with miscellaneous reasons to have a conversation. And that's what you're looking at on your screen right now. Follow up with a miscellaneous reason to call. Now, some of you use email way too much. You rely on it too much, like a crutch, and it's a killer, okay, because a lot of people don't get emails. They don't read them. They skim by subject lines. It ends up in spam and junk mail and all kinds of stuff. It's not very effective. You guys want to see how effective they are? I'm going to show you right now. All right, I'm going to take you guys somewhere. You know what? Maybe Craig doesn't want me doing this, but I'm going to do it anyway. So, Andrea, don't tell me.
Thank you, Prof.
All right, so let me go here to the email tool, and I'm just going to give you an example of how what this looks like. All right, so this is my email tool to you, Platinum members, anybody I want to email. program members, not individually, but as groups. Okay, so let's take a look at my emails. All right, check this out. Platinum lead conversion at 2 p.m. today. All right, I sent this email at 11:35 a.m. Everybody see that? 240 emails sent. That's how many platinum email addresses that we have with members and their key men and whatever's in there. All right, 20% open rate. Now, granted, it's 2:35 Eastern Standard Time, and it was sent at 11:35. All right, well, okay, well, let's go some more days, and let's go to Monday. Today's Tuesday. Let's go a full day ago, right? And I use this subject line, Tuesday is the day, 241 cents. Look at the open rate. But what I found out is there was a technical problem with the email. I had a couple of members reply and say, hey, I couldn't open this email. It has some gibberish on it. But this is common. You're looking at an email system that you have opted into. Okay, there's your email service provider and my email service, or Craig's email service providers, they're actually communicating with each other, and look at the open rates and the problems associated with just that. And that's as good as it can get. So to think that your emails you're intending to use those as some sort of tool to get business, to keep business, to nurture business, it's a huge mistake to rely solely on that. Solely. That's important. Now you know why that some of you get text messages as well, because we figured out that the emails just don't get through to you sometimes. So we've gone to sending you an email about calls to texting you. Okay, so here's one from Monday, March 11th at 9:22 in the morning. Let's see if I had another one here. Seems like I did on Friday, but maybe I didn't. Friday. Yeah. Okay. Monday, March 11th, 9:22 in the morning. As of yesterday morning, 1 day and a half ago. 236 emails sent. Open rate, 34.75%. And Andrea will tell you that's about what we get. 30 to 40% open rate on our emails. To you, the members. That's you. And you guys are paying a lot of money to be in the program. So don't make the assumption that people aren't reading the emails. You have to make the assumption they're not getting the email. So be very careful with how you go about using email. Okay, so let's go back to our objections. Dealing with the appointment objections or whatever. What's going on here? Okay, here we go. Okay, so now that I've really gone along and proven a point, using email, that's okay for follow-up, but I would coach my guys, say, if you send an email, make sure you follow up with a phone call. Don't just send an email. So I would tell this person, hey, as soon as we hang up, I'm going to send you an email, confirmation, appointment confirmation. Okay? So, appointment gets booked too far out, we got to come up with a miscellaneous reason to call. It doesn't say between booking the appointment and actual appointment, follow up with a miscellaneous reason to email. Okay, so I'm going to have to come up with something unique, interesting, beneficial, just to stay connected here. All right? So those are the four big ones. Right? I love handwritten direct mail stuff. The problem is the time element. Okay? Between you booking the appointment and going to see them, probably not going to have time to get anything in the mail. But if they did, direct mail is huge. Okay, so there you go. Those are some great methods and actually best business practices to really handle what happens after you book the appointment. Reiterate the USP before hanging up. Try to avoid scheduling appointments far away. If it gets far out, come up with a miscellaneous reason to call. Immediately upon booking the appointment, send them an email, okay, with a confirmation of what's going to happen. We're going to take a look at those in a minute. And the other one here is, if it's a buyer, maybe you need to be going to their house. I know you're going to their home if they have a home to sell, but if they're not, maybe you should be going there. So if you're getting a lot of people not coming to your office, maybe you try going to theirs. You have to figure out where the issue lies. That you're obligated to test those things. Okay? All right, good. So now let's see if I can find these appointment confirmation emails. And let's start out with the seller one. All right, I'm looking for it right now. You can't see it, but I can. All right, here it is. Now let me show it to you. Pow. Okay, I just talked to the seller. Just booked the appointment. Okay, now what? Well, we talked about it. I reiterated before I hung up the phone what he said yes to. Mr. Smith, looking forward to seeing you Saturday at 10 o'clock. When we get together, this is what we're going to do. Give you a really good idea of what you can expect to sell your home for. Some tips on what to do, more importantly, what not to do to get the most amount of money when you get ready to sell it. Go over all the costs you'll have, so how much you have left in your pocket at closing. Okay? So we'll see you at 10 o'clock. Oh, and when we hang up, I'm going to send you an email with all my contact information as well as a link to your own home seller kit that will probably help you get more money in your time frame when you decide to sell. Okay? Great. So we'll send that over. We'll see you at 10 o'clock. So that's what happened. Just on the phone. That's what I said to him on the phone. Now, I sit down. Here's my email that he's going to get. But I want to reiterate. Email, not all that great. Okay? But that's what we have access to. It's good. At least I can count on for sure a third of the time people getting my emails, maybe 2/3 of the time. Okay? But that's about the numbers in there. All right, so how do we ensure that the email that we send them gets opened on our appointment confirmation emails? And I know some of you got some questions. Keep asking your questions. Go ahead and ask them. We're going to go to the queue here in a few minutes. We're going to take some questions and try to get some role playing in on this lead conversion training today, okay? So go ahead and do that on your questions tab. We'll get to those here shortly. I'm trying to move as fast as I can. I'm sorry. I get a little long-winded sometimes. All right, so let's take a look at seller appointment confirmation email. Subject lines matter. So what should the subject line say? Their house. If it's a seller, here it is right here. Your home at 1065 Gunter Court, if that's their address. And that happens to be my address. That's the infamous 1065 Gunter Court. That should get opened. All right? Address them by name. Great talking to you on the phone. Looking forward to meeting you. So you can see this is kind of the same thing I said on the telephone to them right before I hung up. It is. It's the same conversation. The only difference is I threw in the link to the online home seller kit called the Ultimate Converter. This is my pre-selling system. This is very important because two things are happening here. Number one, I'm confirming the appointment, reminding them what they said yes to, and now I'm going to make them an offer so that they take advantage of it and let that system pre-sell the prospect on me or whoever the agent is before they show up. So when they show up to this appointment, if they looked at this home seller kit that we call the Ultimate Converter, all you Platinum members should have it. If you don't have it, you need to get it. Right? It's going to do the work of telling the story, pre-selling the prospect on me before I ever get there. And it's as good as I want that thing to be. It's pretty awesome. We don't have time to get into that today. Look, if you do not have the Ultimate Converter, because I know this is going to come up and I don't want people asking questions about it. If you don't have it and you want to know what the heck that is, or how do you know what's this pre-selling system? How do we get that? Or maybe you've seen it before and now you know you need it. Okay, send me an email. All right, here's my email address right here. Send it to this email address and I'll forward it to Jamie and she'll send you a demo on that thing. It's really awesome. TW@ToddWalters.com, TW@ToddWalters.com, TW@ToddWalters.com. but every Platinum member really should have that. And your team, everybody on your team should be using it. Okay, twtoddwalters.com if you want that. Or want more information on it or whatever. Okay, so back on the appointment confirmation email, and you can see that's what his job is. Reiterating the USP, confirming the appointment, giving him all my contact information. Okay, a link to our pre-selling system, pre-listing system. Okay, that's it. So again, I'm preventing appointment cancellations or slowing them down, pre-selling myself, accomplishing several things. Okay, so that's the buyer appointment confirmation. I'm sorry, seller appointment confirmation. So what about buyers? Well, it's the same thing. Mr. Smith, it was great talking to you on the phone. I'm looking forward to meeting you in person on Saturday at 10 a.m. and where you're going to meet them at your office, at their house, whatever. When we get together, right, I'm going to take down your exact home buying criteria and get you set up to benefit from our buyer profiling system. Right? You know, when we do that, you will receive pictures and descriptions of all the homes that match your home buying criteria as often as they become available from real estate companies as well as homes not listed with real estate agents, like for sale by owners and bank foreclosures. You'll be able to beat out all the other buyers to the best homes. Okay? So look forward to discussing that and getting that system set up for you when I see you Saturday at 10 a.m. Oh, I've also, and then there also should be some sort of pre-selling element. Now, I know the Ultimate Converter is built for sellers, but what's your pre-selling element for buyers? Okay, there should be a pre-selling pack or information for buyers. Matter of fact, you can turn the Ultimate Converter into one for buyers. It's customizable. I don't know why people don't do that, but you should. Right? So there you go. The objective, we discussed that on getting with these buyers, getting them out the door to go look at homes. We discussed dealing with objections, the tips to effectively dealing with objections. Reference where the objection manual is, something that everybody should be using. Appointment cancellations, how to minimize and reduce those, and use effectively appointment confirmation emails, but understanding that email as any kind of tool when it comes to trying to convert people to a client is not all that effective. Okay, so just understand it's 30 to 40% effective. That's the open rates. All right, so hopefully that will kind of sink in there, and you may do some things a little bit differently there. All right, so we've got some time left. No problem. We've got some questions popping into the queue. So I'm going to bring Andrea back on here. Actually, she's going to bring herself back on. Let me bring up our coaches side here, get out of my email so nobody's messing with that. And we'll bring Andrea back on. Andrea, why don't we tell everybody what they need to do if they want to ask a question or do some role-playing here on something. And we'll get some member involvement going.
Yes, sir. To participate by role-playing or asking your question live to Todd, all you have to do is click the hand icon that's at the top left-hand side of your audio console. We already have one party who's done that. Or you can type your question in a Q&A chat box, and we can address that to Todd. We'll open Darian Wasworth's mic. Please go ahead.
Did you talk to me?
Darian, your line is on.
Yes, hi. So, Todd, you mentioned earlier about signing up people for signing up a bunch of buyers, but then not having enough closings. My issue here, and I don't know how it is in other places, is with inventory being so low. It's not that I'm not finding properties for people. It's just that every time that we go to put a bid, there are 10 other people that are putting bids, and a good amount of the time we don't win the offer. So, so the issue here is not, from my perspective, not finding things. I mean, I'm also working to find things that are off market, but you know, the market itself. So that's one question. I wanted to hear your comments about it. And then the other question is, you know, what is, in a market like this, what would be a useful USP? I mean, I can't tell someone, oh, I'm going to save you $6,000 or $10,000 or any amount like that, because I'm finding that listings are selling for above asking price. What would be a good USP for this market? For
Okay,
buyers?
well, first, there's some good questions. Right? Let's talk about your last one first.
Okay.
Your, quote, USP, or unique selling proposition, or whatever that you, or whatever you brought up for this marketplace.
Right.
Well, I don't understand why it would be any different. So if you're dealing with buyers, for example, and you want to guarantee them that you're going to get them a good deal, okay, if that's what you want to deal with, then just make the guarantee. All right, for example, there are conditions with any guarantee, right?
Okay.
Okay, so let's suppose that my guarantee was, look, I will save you at least $10,000 on your home purchase. Guaranteed. If I don't, I'll pay you $1,000 cash. Now, the first thing is, why would I even mention that performance guarantee? Well, I would mention it because I need to get this guy's business. If I don't need the performance guarantee, then I won't throw it out there.
Sure.
And I'm really only doing this when I'm face-to-face with the prospect, or to try to get me face-to-face. But I'm sure as heck not doing it to get the lead. So let's be real clear on buyers here. Buyers want houses, not necessarily a real estate agent unless you have homes. So I can't use real, like, performance guarantees to generate a lot of buyer leads, but I can use houses in my access to homes or proprietary access to homes to get buyers, right? But I can use the performance guarantee or unique selling proposition to solidify, once I have contact with the buyer, to get me a signed agreement.
Right.
So I don't know why it would be different than any of the performance guarantees or unique selling propositions that you use or have.
Okay.
Okay. So let's talk about that a little bit further. So you may be saying, well, wait a second, if they're selling at asking price or above asking price, how can I guarantee that I'm going to save them money? You can guarantee anything, you just may not be able to do it, which means you would have to pay up. But one of the, and we were running this a lot, even when it wasn't a hot, crazy low inventory marketplace, we would have a buyer, and he had signed off on a certificate that said, your homes will save you $10,000 on your home purchase, or we'll pay you $1,000 cash or whatever. May have even said we'll pay you the difference. May have been 20 grand savings or $5,000 savings, depending on the price range. We're using the performance guarantees as we needed them, right? So they find a house. Well, one of the conditions is that they must offer at least that much below the asking price. Like, I can't guarantee them the savings unless they offer less than that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so we'd find a house, and I would just tell them, say, hey, look, this house that you guys really love, it's a great home. There's 3 other offers on it. So we need to take that into consideration here when you're making your offer, don't you think? Because obviously it's a really good buy. If it wasn't, there wouldn't be other people wanting it at the same time. So it's already obviously below market on comparable homes, right? Something's going on there. So we would take into consideration, and if they made their offer that was more than my guarantee of, say, $10,000 in savings, then obviously it would void my contractual obligation to save. They have to offer less. But if they did do that, then they would lose the property. So they have to follow the conditions of the offer. The reason people would go for a performance guarantee like that is because they're scared they're not going to get a good deal. Right? So they find a home, they really forget about that. They don't want to lose the house because it's already a good buy, right? Or, worst case, I just give up the $1,000. Remember, I did the performance guarantee because I wouldn't have gotten the business if I hadn't.
Right.
Okay. So it's very important. But anyway, that's really good. Really good question. Now, you had a couple of other parts to your question besides the performance guarantee. Oh, I know what it was. Okay, Todd, I got these buyers. We're doing good. But, man, we just can't find them a house. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so let's walk through a few things. The majority of buyers that are working with real estate agents are looking for homes among the active listings. Is that correct?
Yes.
Many times before you can even get your buyer out there, the owner or the listing agent on the property on the home that you want to go show has already gotten like 5 offers faxed over from agents working with investors that haven't even seen the house. Is that correct?
No, but I get your point.
Okay. That's going on, by the way. That's why I threw it out there. It's happening.
Yeah, I'm sure that it's going on with some places, but I don't see it too much here. I think that.
But either way, you're in a competitive environment.
Absolutely.
Around active listings.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are going to probably have to try to look for homes outside of those active inventories as well. And you're probably already doing this, but you got canceled listings, you got withdrawals, you got expireds, you got for sale by owners. You have your own database of clients and past clients that you would contact and say, hey, I've got a buyer. He wants a home in Kimball Farms that has a 3-car garage and a finished basement. He's ready to buy right now. So, talk it up there in your neighborhood and let me know. And we would sell tons of homes just doing that.
Yeah.
So those are the things. There's no real magic pill here. Now, when you make your offer, if it's not a corporate-owned home, you can always do like a simultaneous offer, right? You know how to do that?
I'm not sure what you mean by simultaneous offer.
Let me clarify that. What I mean is that let's suppose that, let me see if I can just find it here. Hang on one second. I'm gonna see if I've got the language for you on my computer. I'm looking for it. It's fast. Here it is. All right, let me cut the screen on so you can see it. All right. Down here at the bottom of the screen, you may have done this before, but this worked really good for many, many years and still does for many of our program members. Okay.
Where am I looking?
Look down at the last paragraph at the bottom of the screen.
Oh, okay. Now it shows up. Okay.
Right. It says, should there be another simultaneous offer to purchase this property, the buyer agrees to pay X number of dollars over any other offer, but not to exceed a sales price of X. Okay, so we may offer $1,000 better than their best offer on a $200,000 list price, but a sales price not to exceed $210,000. Okay, so if they had offers for $201, $202, $199.
So an escalation.
That's right.
Yeah, we have escalations. Right.
Okay, so that's your other option there. You can do this.
Right.
Now, on top of that, if you can throw in a few other things here, like you got your buyer letter, and you can make the offer all cash.
Yeah.
So those are the things you can do to straighten your offer, or big, fat, earnest money checks always get people's attention. $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 earnest money, whatever it is.
Right.
Okay, so you can smoke your competition, and that's typically because understand that the majority of agents that are involved in these offers, they're not like you. They're lesser agents. The majority.
Okay.
There's always but you're going to have one or maybe one there or two there. Sometimes they're pretty sharp like you, and they got the list on the same things that everybody's looking at on their screen right here, on ways to really affect the outcome to make sure their buyer gets the property. All right. So, but anyway, those are about as many bullet points as I can find and throw up right now on this call that have to deal with that question.
Okay.
Yep. So, yep, it's just tougher. It's a little harder in today's marketplace with low inventories, and makes a good case for going out there and trying to find your own listings.
Absolutely.
Great question, though, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next question is...
Adrian?
Yes, sir. Our next question is in the form of chat. Ken, struggling to convert leads through online services, Realtor, Zillow, Trulia, do you have any strategies for using these services?
All right, so let me make sure I understand the question, Andrea, because I was a little slow turning my volume up on my computer there. They're getting leads from Zillow and other services, and they're not converting them to appointments. Is that it?
Correct.
Okay. All right, well, let's talk about that real fast. Whenever you're generating leads, whether it's your own marketing system or you're buying them, and the prospect is not expecting your call, let's be really clear on it. The prospect ain't looking for a call from you. He's not waiting on it. So it's kind of like a stranger, right? So let's pull up the old callback script here just to make sure we've got it on our computer while I'm dealing with this. All right. When you reach the prospect, the rest of it's easy. It's reaching the prospect that's the most difficult. So let's make sure we understand this. If leads are not expecting your call, reaching the prospect is the most difficult job that we have. So let's deal with that issue. How do we reach the prospect faster? Stop there, right there. Well, that's it. How do you reach the prospect faster? So how many minutes are going by from the time you get the lead till you call them back? All right, if it's an excessive amount of time, you got to call them back faster. I mean, think about it. Lead comes in. MIT studies have been done on this, that if you can call them back within a couple of minutes, the odds of reaching them are way higher than if you call them back even 5 or 10 minutes later. So that's very important right there. We've got to reach the leads faster. So whatever you guys are doing in your office that's delaying the prospect coming in and getting to the person who's calling them back, that system has to be streamlined if that is a problem for you. You've got to get the lead faster. So here's how we did it. Lead fills out a form or gets sent over from some paid lead service, it doesn't matter. When they fill out the form, we get it in real time. Okay? So if we're getting it in real time, it means we can call them in real time. It's just a matter of who's going to make the call when that lead comes in. So the email would come in, and instead of going to my database manager and him putting it in the computer and then scheduling a call to be made, the same time the database manager got it, the person that's supposed to be making that call gets it as well, and they're available to make the call. That's how it worked. Okay? So we used handheld devices, we used email, okay? And we had all the things in service timing system set up so that instantly it comes to real time comes in, real time shows up on somebody's screen to call. And we would typically get to the leads pretty fast. Could we get to them all within a couple of minutes? No. Of course not. Can't get to them all that fast. But that will help. All right, now the second thing is if you're calling back prospects that are not expecting your call, you guys have the script for that. Okay? It's the universal follow-up script. It's on the coaching site, right there on the home page. You can click on follow-up script in the dashboard, and there it is for buyers and sellers. There is no better offer or script to call. The only thing is that you guys know that you're asking these motivation and timing questions, okay, before you make your offers. And you don't have to ask all of these questions under motivation and timing. Only when you know the answers. Example, are you folks planning on making a move in the next 3 to 6 months? Yes, we are. So obviously now, I don't need to ask them number 4. If you were to move, when do you think that might be? He just told me, yes, I'm planning on making a move in the next 3 to 6 months. Does everybody get that? So you have to get really good at the script So to help you do that, there's a record of Craig making calls, and there's also a record in the recorded calls library. I'm going to take you guys there right now. Library, recorded calls library. Bear with me. I'm going to show you because this is the best, absolute 100% for sure, the best lead conversion training call that every one of you should have and should be listening to until you've got it down to a science. It's a call with Craig, myself, and James McDonald from February 13th, 2007. And to this day, it remains to be the best lead conversion call ever. It's what I would give out to my sales guys, inside sales guys, when we would hire them. Okay? So you go to the recorded calls library. Okay, and then come down here and I can click on Platinum Inside Sales Training under Platinum Calls. And you can look it up right there in the drop-down menu. February 13, 2007. Andrea, you actually were the operator on that call. And you know, you've replayed that call for me probably 2 times a year since then.
I was thinking that was the one you were probably talking about.
Yep. So anyway, there's some great calls in there. And it's in there. And there it is right there, highlighted on the screen. Okay, so what other questions do we have there, Andrea?
We have an audio question from Janelle Abbott. Your mic is open.
Hello, Janelle.
Hello.
How are you?
Hello.
Hey.
I don't have a microphone. My question is, how do you get them to call you back? I know if I left the USP and they still don't call back, what kind of time frame do you keep?
All right, well, let's back up a little bit. Let's back up. So you're saying that you're calling these prospects and you're leaving them a message and you're asking them to call you?
Yes, leaving a,
Hold on.
USP.
Hold on. Are these people expecting your call?
Yes, they have signed up and left their information.
Are they expecting your call? You there?
I'm thinking. I'm not sure if I have.
All right. Well, it's easy to find out. Where did the lead come from?
I'm in OSA.
Mm-hmm. Where did the lead come from?
It comes from my broker.
Okay. How did he?
So,
What ad did they call on?
I get the leads from the IFA.
Okay.
So yes, they are expecting a call.
Okay, hold on. So the inside sales agent calls and sets up an appointment, and you're calling someone that you already have an appointment with?
No, I am just funneled the lead through the system. So they've received a welcome letter and telling them that I will be calling them soon.
Okay. So in other words, you've warned them not to answer the telephone. Is that what you're saying?
I'm writing that down.
I mean, because, see, the question that I have is your actual overall practice. All right, so the first thing that, to troubleshoot this, it would be like, where's the lead coming from? Did they come off online or offline? Did they fill out a form on your website to request a report or a free list of homes or something?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it a free list of homes or would it be a free report?
Don't know.
Okay.
That's a good question. I should ask the ISA.
That's fine. So when you say they've received a welcome email,
yeah,
what are they being welcomed to?
To our website to search the web for homes.
So you're using the IDX system.
Yes.
I got you. All right. So they're looking for homes on their own. So I guess the thing would probably be they're not really expecting your call, even though you told them you're going to be calling. So so if you're telling them that you're going to be calling, what's the benefit associated with that?
is to give them inside information of the property
do
that they have raised their hand.
Do they know that from the welcome email?
Yes.
Okay, so your welcome email says, we're going to be calling you with extremely important beneficial information, and you tell them what that is.
Good question.
Right, because if it doesn't do that, then obviously you're telling them, I'm going to be calling you, or look for our phone call, but they may do their darndest to avoid taking your call if they see caller ID or something like that, because they don't know the benefits in it.
Got it. Okay.
Right, so you may be setting up, you may be having your own problems created just based on the way that you guys do things. All right, so my recommendation is to have your team leader call me, and I'll help walk through that and troubleshoot that system, and we'll try to make it easier to reach the leads. All right, so but let's go back to your original question anyway on,
Well, it may be me. It just might be I need more training.
Well, I mean, like you're saying, you're just trying to get them to call you back.
Yes.
Okay, so
If they already raised their hand, they've already jumped through the hoop.
yeah, they're looking for homes. I get that. If they're expecting your call, in other words, they've said, yes, call me. We want you to call me. So that's what I mean by expecting your call. They're asking you to call versus they haven't asked you to call.
You're probably right. They haven't asked to call.
I've got a message from Jay. Is Jay Macklin, Jonelle, is he, you're his new OSA, is that correct?
Yes.
And he is saying that you were getting your leads from the CINC. He meant to tell you that, Todd.
Okay.
So it's a commissions Inc. system. All right. So it's an IDX system. We kind of figured that one out through the process of troubleshooting this whole thing. Okay, so no problem. Look, you're calling the leads back. They're already getting pictures and descriptions of homes.
Yeah.
Okay? And you already know when you call them. You already know when you call them their time frame for moving, if they have a house to sell. You know all those questions.
Yes,
right?
sir.
So the purpose of your call then is to get some sort of face-to-face meeting set up by making them an offer of some kind.
Yes, a USP, yeah.
Right. The universal callback script, all those questions have already been answered. You know those answers when you call, and they've already said yes to getting pictures, descriptions of homes because they're doing it. Okay? So now you're at the point of closing for an appointment. So if you want them to call you back, and you're going to have to talk to them in order to make that offer. You can't make the offer and hope they call you with it. You can just be polite on the telephone. Hey, look, this is Todd Walters. I've got some really good news for you about the property that you were looking at on our website. If you please call me back, here's my number. Okay, is one option. Another option is to don't say anything except this is Todd. Or like, let's suppose the person's name is Mike. The message may be, Mike, this is Todd. Call me, 770-355-8010. Thanks. And hang up. So you don't say anything except the minimum. Don't say you're an agent. Don't say anything. Just say, hey, Mike, this is Todd. Call me. Is another option. Those are your only two.
Okay. So how long do you pursue them? That's another, I'm trying to use best practices.
Well, like what are your options if you don't pursue them?
Well, I was always, under the impression, you pursue them until they tell you to stop.
And I don't think Jay would disagree with that, as long as it's prioritized properly. Because you can see, especially on your Commissions Inc. site, you can see right there that that when they come back and log in, if they keep coming back, they're still looking. Their time frame for moving versus what the actual present date and time are. So that will tell you a lot on how and when you should pursue people.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I'll just keep calling. Thank you.
Yeah. But those are your two options on leaving a message to get them to call if you leave one, which is, hey, I've got really good news for you about the property you're looking at there at 1065 Glen Court. Please call me. Here's my number.
Yeah, that's what I usually say. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or, hey, this is Todd. Hey, Mike, this is Todd. Call me, 770-35, just like you were talking to a friend. And try those approaches. So you want to just test both of them, see which one works for you the best, and try to get those callbacks. And sometimes you don't. Sometimes you call and you don't leave any message. You just call, hang up, and then call right back.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's a strategy as well. Let me reiterate that. You pick up the phone and you call. They don't answer. You hang up. You immediately call right back. Right? So, and the second time it rings from the same number, they're kind of likely to pick up the phone if they're able. All right. So anyway, so there's 3 strategies there to try to reach people that you're not able to reach right now. But the other thing is use a direct dialer, and I think Jay probably knows about that. That's going to come online here pretty soon. So you'll have a robot that will make all the calls for you at one time, and then when it reaches someone, you'll be live with them on the phone. So you won't have to make any dials yourself with that system.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Yep, that'll be really good. That'll be a big help for everyone that's using a system like that. All right, great questions, and we appreciate it. Andrea, we got time for one more.
Well, we have no further questions in our queue.
Okay, well, good. And we get through them okay. All right. So with that, I want to thank everybody for jumping on today's training session. Platinum Elite lead conversion. That was great, and hopefully you benefited from the information here. So we're going to sign off, and we're going to go sell some houses. All right? So with that, let's go sell. Let's go sell big. We'll talk to you guys soon now. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and have a wonderful afternoon. This ends the webinar for today.